Hey, what's happening, everybody? Welcome to the new show, Burn It All. I am the co-host. Oh, hold on one second. I got something going on over here. Let's stop that. Someone's recording my voice. There we go. Um, uh, I'm the captain, your captain, RG3, bringing something new. We're going to be talking about cigars and very, very light crypto. So, for those of you crypto folk, you might not be real hip on this one, but this is going to be about me and my friends having some fun, hanging out, and talking about old times and getting into the cigar culture a little bit and trying to teach them about crypto. So, I'm going to bring my guests up. I've got from MCR in the crypto world, we have Triple It Dad. What's happening, buddy?
Nice to see you, bud. Nice to see you. This is going to be awesome. I've waited a very long time for a cigar show.
Yeah, and here we go, man. And
Okay.
then a man who doesn't need any introduction in this community. He has got the stats of stats on everything crypto. He's got his own crypto and you name it. He's done some really good work in here and is a big supporter of all of us and everything that we've done in crypto. And that's my buddy Crispy. How's it going, Crispy?
Hey guys, what's going on?
Crispy,
Big hey now.
Not much. So one of the kind of let everybody know that we're all of us here are seasoned crypto enthusiasts and expert. We've all built our own programs, communities, events. We've traveled around the world together, and we've built a lot of things and worked together and done a lot of work for the last 5 years. And in doing so, we have traveled the world and ended up in cigar lounges everywhere that we've gone. So, Triple Dad and Crispy, we've been in Panama, we've been in Europe, we've been all around the country in Vegas, and we always end up in a cigar lounge trying to find out where each other are so that we can grab a stick and sit down and relax. And yeah, we got a lot of noise coming out of the mic there.
There you go.
When it's all right. When we do get a chance to sit down and grab a cigar, which is what we're going to do in a minute here, we spend some quality time chatting with each other, and I found that every lounge I go to, every time I sit down with these guys, we end up relaxing and having good conversations and coming up with stuff that has actually helped us or built businesses within the space here. So we're going to start doing this here on stream and seeing how it turns out and see who we bring to the table and just start educating folks on cigars and crypto. So fellas, I'm gonna let you guys go ahead and introduce yourself. Triple Dad, you want to let everybody know kind of who you are, what you've done, and we'll start talking about our cigar journey too.
Awesome. So Triplet Dad 007, and it's Triplet Dad because I do have triplets that are 21 years old. A lot of people know that though, right? I am a founding member of MCR, and we ran a bunch of sacrifices, we ran some groups for sacrifices, right? So, and we did that for Pulse X and Liquid Loans. We're doing pretty well there, right? Number one wallet, Liquid Loans. But other than that, we've just been focused on building community, right? We are a supporter of Pulse Chain Tour. We're a supporter of No Permissions in Panama. We're any place where a group of people is getting together talking about crypto, whether it's Pulse Chain or any other chain. We support that big time because we like crypto in general.
Woohoo.
Yep.
All right, Crispy.
Yeah, man. Well, I think like everybody else, I came into the old crypto to make it big, fast. So let's count how many years it's been. Like 17. Well, geez, that's going on 8 years. Anyways, it's been a great journey. Learned a hell of a lot. Yeah. So day zero hexagon, right? Day one hexagon, all that stuff. Got to participate through all this thing. I guess, besides just being a sacrificer and a hex believer and all that, I guess my call to action was one day somebody said, you can't figure this stuff out. You can't figure out what's going to happen with hex, and at least from a data perspective, right? And that sent me on this journey. Like, wait a minute, that can't be true. Can't be true, right? We got a contract, we got math. Now, what we can't do is predict what people are going to do. You can try. That's what I try to do. I try to predict what people will do. But even then, we're not even talking about price. I'm talking about contracting. A lot of people maybe don't matter a lot, but it mattered to me because I was putting some value into this thing, and I wanted to understand that it actually worked, and be able to show that. Well, now I can tell you, I got 4 or 5 years of being able to show it works exactly as planned, right? What we do,
right on.
Right. Beyond that, though, that took me into some other space. I never really intended to do a sacrifice. Ended up a sacrifice. Never intended to do anything other than hex, but here I am. So I got all this pulse chain stuff, and along the way, for educational purposes, I launched a token. But then I figured out people bought it, and so then I felt kind of bad. Like I can't just put something there and not support it. So now I'm into LP and trying to understand LP, and that's been a journey, right?
Oh.
And very useful. Right, trying to understand. So exactly how does this work? I put value up, and other people sell it down. Right. So that's what I figured out there. So the big game of it reinforces a lot of beliefs and stuff. Anyways, so I've been doing that, and then most lately, I've been working a lot on automation and bots, and what does that mean, and how are they used? Because these are all the things, and I bring these things up because they're the challenges.
Yeah,
the challenge. But let me bring it all the way back to because there's challenges for me when I'm in crypto, anyways. Maybe everybody else got it figured out, but bring it all the way back to cigars. So the whole time I'm smoking cigars, right? and then let's go all the way back to like the big club. Yeah, a lot of people aren't going to understand, but man, if you smoke weed, you understand. You'll understand this, right? I can go to any country, any club in the world, and go have a cigar and strike up a conversation with somebody. It's probably one of the last places that I can do that or do something like that. I mean, I'm sure people have their own stuff, right? But I mean, it's like really cool, man. I can go to any country and go do that. And, I haven't been turned down yet in terms of talking to people and being able to do that. And you find that even though we're quite diverse, man, you can sit down and have a smoke.
With anyone.
That's the best part of that too, right? Just like they say in some other things, right? The meeting after the meeting is the best meeting, right? So you go to this big speaker thing, right? And you're there for 6 to 8 hours, or a golf event, and everybody's hot, sweaty. Go back to the hotel room, change, go grab a stick and some food. Oh my God, that's the best place, right? When we did that most recently, all three of us, right, in Vegas, those conversations we had on that first night at that place you took us to, Captain, and then when we went and watched the fight, also that place was awesome. Those are some good nights.
Good times. Yeah, good times. So first of all, apologize to everybody. I had technical difficulties, so I'm on the stinking iPad today. I got my cameras and everything set up, and my computer failed. So had to hastily put this up. And on top of it, I've got our producer is out gallivanting in Vegas at a dead show, hippieing out tonight. So we're not, we don't have our producer here because she's out there playing with the hippies at the dead show in Vegas. So good for her. But it's so last minute getting some things done here and whatnot. So sorry about the choppy image. Hopefully you guys can hear me. I'm Captain RG3. I was also day zero hexagon, started streaming, created the first community stream, the longest community stream that we've got, allowed anybody to come on and talk. And we built a community based on that. Triple Dad, Crispy, a lot of the other streamers came on our show in the beginning and supported us, and they all went out and did better things and built their own shows and built their own cryptos and whatnot. So I was real happy to be the guy that pushed the button that allowed this community to kind of like explode, and we did. And so now we're out doing good things. We're building DeFi platforms, DeFi products, and we're building community still. So that's what I do. I build community. I create in-person events. I love that. I love the in-person stuff, going to cigar lounges and talking to people, going to beauty salons and showing people how to use crypto. Traveled the world, traveled the United States. For the last 3 years, I've been traveling, doing events. And now we're doing one event a year in Vegas, and looking at breaking into the cigar world and trying to marry the two, crypto and cigars, because I think that we have a synergy there. We've got, like Crispy is saying, anywhere we go in the world, we could sit down, strike up a conversation, and have a good time with the people that are in the lounge. And usually those conversations end up talking about, hey, what do you do? We're in crypto. Oh, wow, that's a very interesting subject. They start asking about it. Before I know it, I'm onboarding people, showing them how to do crypto, showing them how to, create passive income with it and whatnot. And so I think that there's a synergy here, because the people that smoke cigars, I mean, let's face it, premium cigars are not cheap. They're anywhere from, if you're a bargain shopper and you know what you're doing, you go out there and find a good club or something, you can get them anywhere from $5 a stick, and they go all the way up to $150, $200 a stick for, ridiculous prices. I mean, I was in Vegas, and I did a stupid thing and bought a Opus X that cost me $180, and I was just with the people and wanted to try one, and I did, and I loved it, but it wasn't $180 love, that's for sure. So let's. I know we're all jonesing right now because we've been sitting here staring at our cigars, waiting to smoke them. So let's go ahead and have a quick conversation about what we're going to do here. So each week we're going to kind of showcase a company, a club, something that in the cigar world where we can kind of explain to you guys what's going on out there, because there's a very dynamic world out there in the cigar world. One of the oldest companies, I think they're about 120 years old, is A Fuente, Arturo Fuente. They're just a pinnacle of cigars. In the 90s, they started making a cigar called the Opus X that everybody just loves, and it's very expensive and very rare. So today what we're going to do is we're all going to, have a little conversation about A Fuente, and then let's see if I can show you, and smoke our cigars. Mine here is the Gran Aniversario with an X, Destino Sigleto, and this is their 100-year anniversary cigar. Kind of after their father, Arturo Fuente himself. And so I'll be smoking that one today. How about you guys?
I am smoking Arturo Fuente 858 Maduro. And one of the reasons why I'm smoking this one is because this is the first show, and 858 is the very first box of cigars I ever bought.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So it kind of holds a special place in me, in my heart, right? Wherever you go, even if you go to a corner store, sometimes they'll have 858s available, right? Those or maybe short stories, right? But there's always an Arturo Fuente somewhere in the cabinet. More often than not, it's a 858. The first box I bought was a natural. This is a Maduro. They didn't have any naturals at the brick and mortar down the street, but this is just brings back some memories. Love 858s.
Nice. What do you got there, Crispy?
I got the same one. I'm going to do the 858. The what's this? What they call it? It is a Maduro. The Florfina 858.
Florfina.
This beautiful little cigar here. Nice, rich color. It's supposed to have a sweet wrapper. So a lot of people listening may not understand, but maybe you get some experience with trying a lot of draft beers, a lot of different type of craft beers. Maybe you get a lot of experience with wine, right? So cigar is very similar. There's like a whole science behind it, and it's a very small world. When you talk about these owners and these founders, it's a very small world, and a lot of them are related. A lot of them work with each other. I mean, and man, talk about gatekept. It is a
Yeah.
gate kept industry. And what's
Yeah.
crazy too is for all of us, depending where you go in the country, and depending on the relationships they have, there's some cigars you get and some you don't.
Yep.
Like
Exactly.
I can go where you are and go find. Like I wasn't sure I'd find this one. I didn't know. So I went and found it at a cigar store today.
Nice. All right, guys. Well, let's slash and burn and have ourselves our sticks. So, what you got to do, if you don't know, is you got to cut your cigar and you got to light it. And there's different cutters. I've got this double throwdown trick of the week lighter with a straight cutter and a V cutter on it, and it's got every tool. It's the Swiss Army knife of lighters. And I'm going to do a.
I better punch.
I got a wire cutter. I got a set of wire cutters. I'm serious. I'm not even joking. That's what I'm using. I mean, I got a cutter. I got a cut.
Yeah.
I got a cutter. Man. This thing will take care of anybody, well, not quite take care of a Red Bull can, but it'll take care of a lot of stuff. But I have been, how I cut them makes a difference, right? Everybody's different, right? Some people like different amounts of flow, but when I use this kind of like a double punch, so I probably could just go get one, right? But
yeah, so a lot of people, what you do is you toast the foot. This is the foot of the cigar here. You toast it up a little bit, get it going, and then wow, that's nice.
Especially around that one, right? There's some cigars that I just pull out and I light them up, right, with not a lot of pomp and circumstance, right? This is one of those. This is like an everyday cigar. It's something you just hanging out, watching the game, doing projects in the garage. That right there, what you're smoking, is somewhat of a celebratory cigar, right? Something that usually comes with an event, right?
Yeah, it's not really a high dollar cigar. I mean, it's like a $35 stick. Don't get me wrong. So that's high dollar. But it's not like, their Opus X's or go for, anywhere from $45, $75, $100, which is kind of the same line, which is the Chateau Fuente, line. And this is a 47 ring gauge too. So it's a little, thinner than like, a lot of the sticks out today is like 52 and above. Everybody's got these real fat sticks now.
I like the 80s myself. So.
What is that, a nub? What is the ring gauge of a nub?
A 60, right?
Yeah, it's got to be pretty fat. Yeah,
I think it's a 60.
I wanted to show this to you guys because just to show you, I got this as a wedding present. It's all dusty. Yeah. Mm-hmm. This was a Opus X box set that I got. It's pretty cool.
Sweet.
I smoked all the cigars, but it had a book inside. Everything is velvet lined inside. It was badass.
Yeah.
Very nice.
So the
horse bang.
Yeah. So the Opus X was a cigar that they put out in I think it was in the 90s, and it was supposed to be a all Dominican Puro is what they call the first Dominican Puro. I do believe I'm correct there that they finally made a wrapper that was worthy of their cigars, because all the wrappers came from other places, and so it was like, I think it was the first Dominican Puro. I could be wrong, but probably should have done a little more research before we started.
I think our wrappers are Connecticut wrappers on this, right, Crispy?
Yeah, it's Connecticut. Yep.
And these things, just to check it out, I don't usually do this, but just so people get a baseline, right? I went on a Cigar Aficionado, and it's this one has a rating of 87. And the other thing that killed me was it said it was should be $5. I have never in my life bought an Arturo Fuente cigar for $5 ever. right? I don't know where Cigar Aficionado gets their prices, but this is not at a brick and mortar. This is probably $11-12 an 858. What was yours, Crispy?
It just came in under $10.
Yeah, right there.
Yeah,
This
I think
came
this
under
one,
10.
like I said, was about $34, something like that. And
Yeah, dude,
bought it a while
I
back.
hate spending money on them. So I'll look for deals, and of course, we know there's some websites to sell them online and whatnot. But when I started smoking first, I wasn't like a big enthusiast for a long time, but I came into it, and I don't know how you guys did either, but I was smoking $1 cigars, man. There's something called Munis, which I don't even think they're made anymore. Muni makers, they're sold out here in Connecticut type brand, and they're $1 cigars. You buy a whole package for $10 or something, right? And that's how I started smoking them. But what was happening is I was attending these large events, which are kind of like LARPing events. I won't get too much more detail on that. But anyways, cigars are like currency, right? And so it's just like we talked about it and made fun of it and laughed about how we were giving each other cigars in Las Vegas. But that's the norm between cigar smokers, right? Like you go somewhere, you travel, you hand off one, right? And so people giving them back and forth as gifts, tokens, that type of thing. And so you collect a lot of cigars that way.
I just smoked the other night. Hex Glenn gave me a Cohiba, gave you guys one too, I think, or you one, right?
Yeah.
One of you guys gave me a little Cohiba in a tube. And I just went riding in Utah, went off-roading in Utah and smoked that in a hot tub. It's awesome. When people know that you smoke cigars, it's the easiest Christmas present in the world, right? My daughter bought me cigars for Christmas this year, and I'm going, this is fabulous.
Unless they're woke and they're like, hey, Dad, to save you, I'm not buying you any cigars.
Yeah.
Well, and look, I'm not going to condone cigar smoking. I'm not going to condone the use of tobacco or whatever, but I've given up a lot of vices in my life, and there's a few things that I still enjoy, and a cigar is one of them. And when I look at the health risks of a cigar versus, vapes and cigarettes and all the other things, the risk is low in comparison. And it's also, this is a natural product. This is a product that is everything in it is just tobacco. And it's, there's three different elements. There's a filler, a binder, and a wrapper. And it's just three different blends of tobacco. It could be, they're like Crispy was saying, there's a lot of science behind it. And they mix all kinds of different tobaccos that are grown from here or grown from there. I think this one here is a Dominican Habano wrapper. So what that means is it was a Cuban seed that came and they grew it in Dominican and they created a wrapper finally. And that was like their big claim to fame was Arturo Fuente actually created this wrapper. And then they use another special one on the Opus X. It's an all natural product. And the health risks are a lot less than, say you're inhaling, because we don't inhale. So anybody out there who doesn't smoke cigars, we don't inhale. It's you inhale a cigar and you're gonna choke you could choke a horse with a cigar.
Just like Bill Clinton, right? I didn't inhale.
It's by accident if you do. I was talking to my doctor today about this because I went in for a checkup, and he was like, you've only been smoking for 10 years, so yeah, we don't have to worry about doing any screening for a while. And I was like, Now that doesn't justify smoking. Kids, don't do what we do. Don't do what we do. Hey, I see a question here in the chat about the Palencias. Yeah, Palencias became super popular. Maybe they were always popular. Placencia. Yeah. Anyways, they became super popular. So yeah, $20-$26. That seems to be kind of normal for them that I've seen lately, and some of them a lot higher. They make a hell of a hex cigar, though. I don't know if you've seen that before.
That thing is delicious, man,
and it's a really good smoke. Yeah.
Yeah. It's the Alma del Celio is what he's saying there. And they're worth it. Every Placencia I've ever had has been amazing. They're really good cigars. There's a limited edition one out there that is almost completely gone. I finally found 2 boxes of them. They're called the 146. And I just picked up a couple of those 146s. boxes of those 146s and stuffed them in the humidor. They came thirsty, boy. They were dry. So I'm not going to dime out the company that sent them to me, but they were pretty dry. So those guys have to sit in the humidor for a little while and moisten back up a little bit.
Oh,
but
we should tell people that, right? You find somebody in your family. This happens a lot. Somebody in your family kept some cigars for some reason. Don't throw them out. Give them to somebody who wants.
Yeah.
Yeah. They can be brought back to life. You could bring them back to life.
Banger in chat is a good dude. I've known him pre Paul Sex Sacrifice, right? And he's recommending that Atabay that I tell you about all the time. So he told me to get one of those, and I went and got one. And they're fabulous cigars. And the only place that has them on the regular, because everybody always sells out, is the Small Batch Cigar Company, right in Southern California.
Right here.
Yeah, so you're lucky. You have a constant supply of those down there.
I'm lucky.
One was Laguna Beach. I had one on the beach at Laguna Beach. There's a place that's on the second story that has like Cuban coffees in Laguna Beach. They had one up there.
Yeah, the lounge situation out here is abysmal. I mean, it's very hard to open up a lounge. The smoking rules in California make it to where you can't serve beverages or food in a lounge unless it's like kind of grandfathered in. So it's been really, really tough to find a place to enjoy, and it's a shame because the conversations and the camaraderie of the people in a lounge are good. But hey, Mike, just to answer your question, heck yeah, it's worth it. I wouldn't smoke them all the time just because they're $35 a stick. But damn, Placentas are good, and they make an all organic cigar too. They're the only company. So Placentia, I know we're here to talk about Arturo Fuente.
She had one of those in Vegas, right?
Yeah, exactly. Because she's a little hippie, and she started hanging out with all of us, so she started smoking cigars, and the Placentia is a farm that grows tobacco, and they grow tobacco for all the major cigar companies. And that's kind of where they started. Now their Placentia brand of cigars just kind of started, but they've done a hell of a job. And I've liked everything that I've tried of theirs so far. And their all organic one, I forget what they call it, but they have one cigar that's all organic, and everything is everything, the wrapper, the binder, and the filler is all organic. So they're the only organic cigar that's out there.
Mm-hmm.
Now you guys are past like the first inch on yours, right? How's your cigars?
My 858's pepper, man, it's good. I like it. I'm classified as peppery.
This thing is just like an Opus to me. I mean, all of the high end Fuente cigars to me are have that real creamy, light, aged taste to them. And but this one has a little more. I'm horrible with the tasting note things. I know that everybody's doing these tasting notes now. They're all talking about these tasting notes.
A little hint of cedar with some bitter chocolate and a touch of Earl Grey.
I taste a little bit of Marcus in this one. I don't know. Hey, we should probably tell people about this. I mean, you can get really crazy with the details and stuff. You hit on the top line stuff, which is, you got your filler, right? You got your wrapper, and et cetera, right? So you get those three different layers of tobacco. And so if you were a new creator, right, you're going to pick your wrapper, you're going to pick your binder, you're going to pick the fill, right? And then when you get to the fill, you get to decide the mixture, right? And that's what the buyers are doing. They're going out and however they're selecting their tobacco, where they grew it themselves, right? So for everybody who's new to this and watching, right, you see all these funky shapes and whatnot. Those aren't just novelty. Those are experiments, right? Those are designs. And just like some of them are fatter and some of them are longer and some of them are skinnier, right? What they're trying to do is create an experience for the smoker so that they can communicate their, call it art, right, to the
Yeah.
people who are smoking, right? Like, what kind of taste are you going to get when it starts, and what kind of taste are you going to get in the middle and the end?
Yep. And then also the size matters too, because if you've got a thicker cigar, you're getting more of the filler and more of the binder, or well, more of the
My
filler.
wife said size doesn't matter.
And then,
Yeah, I think
a thin
I think
cigar like
that's a
this,
lie.
you're getting a lot of wrapper, so I'm really, this thing is tasty, man. It really is. It really is tasty. I'm liking it a lot. But I had another one earlier this morning that I like too.
Well, and
And that
the
was,
cigar, and these guys are not filtered, right? And so that's another thing, right? That's the other part of the engineering that goes into it, because I guess that you could really call it engineering, right? Is as you're smoking, you are collecting the bitters in the end, right? And so that makes a difference too. And so it's all about crafting and experience.
yeah. And what Triple Dad was talking about, he said, "Hey, you guys got your first, inch done there. A cigar is measured in thirds. So you smoke your first third, then you smoke your second third, and then there's the last third, and the taste profile changes on down the cigar. Things start to gather, things start to change, and so they measure it in thirds, and we're
Yeah.
going through the first third right now.
I'm laughing out loud about it because you may find that if you know somebody who's smoking, yeah, if you talk about the thirds, that's before you get to the wrapper, and then you have the rest of us who will go past the wrapper, right? So try not to smoke the wrapper, but yeah, because that's another thing, right? When we look at this, like mine's got a pretty good ash there at the end. It hasn't broken off yet. I haven't burned myself. Not on fire. I have a fire
All of my
extinguisher.
shirts have little holes right here.
That's why you're so holy, right?
My
It was just Easter. But you look here, you see how we have this label down here. In theory, you're supposed to stop when you get to the label, and
Yeah, some people do that. I take mine off and I smoke mine down to the nub. Now, there's some cigars I don't like smoking down to the nub. They just get too intense. They get too bitter, peppery, so I won't. I'll get that far and go, oh, this isn't one. But some of them, man, like I can tell this is one of those ones I'm going to be, roach clipping this one.
Just like all other other smoking experiences, let's just say, right? Everything we're burning right now is being filtered by this back end, right? So this is very, very strong when you get to the bottom of it. It's just the nature of it.
And Triplet Dad, he always smokes his down to where his fingers are burning. Wherever we're at, he's down there. He's got that thing.
I bring tweezers with me.
He's got his tweezers. Yeah, he's got these special tweezers and little roach clips that he brings.
Yeah.
Now, some people actually have ash contests. Maybe we'll have to have an ash contest here one day. They see how far they can keep their ash going before it falls off, and it's everybody's preference. Some people ash the cigar. You're not supposed to really like tap an ash like a cigarette. It's kind of like etiquette or whatever. But also it helps keep the cigar burning a little slower and a little less heat burning in there when you have the ash attached to it. So that's why you'll see guys, with their ashes hanging out. This one I know is about to fall off. I can tell it's breaking.
The G-Banger recommended to me, that was probably one of the most gorgeous ashes I've ever had on a cigar. It was unreal. It looked like the whole cigar turned white at the top, and it was still the same size. It was crazy.
I mean, when I get a good cigar like this, I need a box of these, but you just can't smoke them every day.
That's my dream,
right? What are you guys drinking with yours?
So let's get into our pairing. So cigars, we pair cigars with a drink. A lot of people. Myself, I don't drink. So what I usually have is a coffee or an espresso, or tonight I'm going to have IPA, Klaus Holler, zero alcohol, non-alcoholic beer to pair my cigar with. And I think it's going to go great with this thing. But a lot of people like scotch or rum or, there's all kinds of different, pairings that you go with. Cognac, this and that and the other.
Yeah, Scotch and
yeah.
bourbon go real well, but I'm drinking black coffee. And, it's another, cigarette smokers might understand this pretty well, or people who are really nature lovers, right? There ain't nothing like getting up 5 a.m. and go watch the sunrise with a smoke and hot coffee. Man.
That is really good. I have to admit, I used to smoke cigarettes back in the day, a long time ago, right?
Yeah.
And that was a good time.
I was a 2-pack a day smoker, and that was bad, man. That was when I first sobered up. I was still smoking and trying to get over the drinking thing and the drugging thing, and I leaned into cigarettes for a while, and it got bad. I'd wake up with a cherry in my face, and I'd go to sleep with a cherry in my face. It was the first thing and the last thing I saw.
What do they call that? What do they call that? Transference?
Chain smoking?
No,
transference.
When you move from one thing to another.
Yeah. And then it took me 2 years, and then I quit. So I haven't smoked cigarettes in all close to 30 years. It's been 28 years since I smoked cigarettes. And I only smoked a cigar, for most of those years. I'll smoke, 2 or 3 cigars a year, special occasions, somebody bring me one, somebody say, oh, I got a Cuban, and get me a Cuban. And it wasn't I wasn't a big cigar smoker. And until recently, a good friend of mine, who's also, clean sober, his brother, and we've known each other for a very long time. His brother's big cigar aficionado. He's got 2,000 cigar humidor in his house and all that kind of stuff, gets cigars from all around the world. And so I started, really getting into it, and went from, a couple few a year to a couple of few a month to a one a day. And now I'm trying to keep myself from 2 a day, because I don't want to start getting into 2, 3. I don't want to turn into a George Burns.
Yeah, you don't want to hang around with us. Hang around with me then. But
well,
hey, if I share my screen, can you show it or no?
Yeah.
So I get that argument a lot. People like, don't, you shouldn't be smoking. And I get it. I know. But like you said, everything else, can't do anything else. So here's a list of, well, I do it anyways, but I mean, I try not to do all these bad things. So this is probably one of the least bad things. So here's the top list of top 15 cigar smokers. Love them or hate them. Right. And big shout out to the ladies on the list: Rihanna, Debbie Moore, Whoopi Goldberg. Right. Big ones that we should all know about right offhand. Right. Winston Churchill. Right?
Yep.
Schwarzenegger, of course. Fidel always had a cigar. Sigmund Freud, JFK, Michael Jordan, Groucho Marx, Mark Twain, Jack Nicholson. The list goes on. I kind of feel like I'm in, of course, I'm not going to say I'm at the same level as all these people, but I feel like I'm in good company.
Yeah. I was
the cigar shop I used to go to in Sacramento. And it was a bunch of Cuban guys that rolled cigars in there. And their top end cigar was back in the day when Governor Schwarzenegger was California governor. And they had a cigar that was ginormous, and it had to be at least a 56, maybe larger ring gauge. It was huge, and it was called the Governor. And it was
Governor.
It was an awesome cigar.
Governor. Well, so here's the thing, right? I have something in common with all these people, right? And so, like, if I recognize that I had this in common with them, this is actually a hell of a icebreaker. Right.
Yeah.
Because I would walk up to one of these folks who I might not walk up to otherwise and start talking to them about cigars. That's crazy, huh?
And the thing is cool is they'd talk to you about it too, Yeah.
Yeah.
Because there's not, it is a small knit, community. And once you do talk to somebody and they do know something about them, and they are, talking about the major brands and the flavors and their favorite cigars and whatnot, it's interesting subject to not actually talk to somebody who understands it. Like, my wife, she hates it, and not a lot of people I know. I get a friend or two over here, and they smoke a cigar with me, and they turn green, and I don't see them for a few months, because they're like, oh man, I don't want to go do that again. But when you do find somebody who is an aficionado, I guess you would call it, you can strike up a conversation even without having a stick, and it is cool. And one of the cool stories, you got George Burns up there. The guy lived to be 100 years old, and he smoked 15 to 20 cigars a day.
Yeah.
A day. And he smoked some kind of funky brand thing or whatever. But he was on the Johnny Carson show. A lot of young folks won't know who Johnny Carson is, the Johnny Carson show. And he's talking to Johnny. He's got a cigar in his mouth, and he's like, well, how do you smoke so many cigars? And he's like, I smoke 15 to 20 a day. And he said, well, what does your doctor say? He says, my doctor's dead.
He died a long time ago.
He died a long time ago, and he's still
monkey.
So we get that a lot, right, about the smoke, and of course the taste and being around other people, and some people are super sensitive. But let's go ahead and switch around the other way. Okay, I'm not telling you boys out there or ladies who are single, this will work out for you, but there is such a thing as cigar bunnies. Now, how do I know this? Well, there are like cigar friendlies. Listen, there are people that grew up with probably men, maybe some women, but probably men in their lives that they really loved and respected and were involved with, and they were cigar smokers. And it just takes, this is my guess, it just takes a whiff of a cigar to turn on their friendliness type of thing. Not necessarily that every guy wants to have sex with you, but or every girl. Well, what I'm saying is it like gives you this signal, right? And so I will have people come search me out, like I'm walking around trying not to get arrested by the cigar police and kicked out of the park or told I can't walk on the sidewalk or whatever it is I'm doing with smoke. And I'm like, oh, covert, like these guys are walking by with joints, smoking weed all over the place, and I'm hiding my cigar, right? But people will seek me out like a goddamn missile that like cigar smoke just to come over and tell me how much they like the smell of cigars, right? And then my wife's not here, so I got to look behind me and make sure I don't get hit with something from behind. But not to mention, there are quite a few, my experience has been there are quite a few women that really do like cigar smokers. Not everybody.
My wife's dad smoked a pipe. So she was down for that, right? She didn't mind it at all. And when I go to a cigar lounge, like if I'm in Vegas and she's hanging out with me, she'll take puffs of cigars. Like when we were in Panama, she started smoking a Cuban with me, which was pretty cool. That was a very good cigar, though.
Now I'd like to talk about that a little bit. So, in the 80s and 90s, the Cuban thing was a big deal. It was a real big deal. Like if you had a Cuban cigar, it was a big deal. You could hardly get a hold of one. In my age back then, when I was a teenager, early 20s and whatnot, you just couldn't get your hands on them. You'd run into something every once in a while. So as time has gone on, and now I've been a world traveler, I've looked for a couple of Cubans out there. And I'm going to tell you right now, I'm not impressed. I am not impressed. And I went this last trip to Portugal. They have these special Cuban cigar shops called Havana. What's it called? Casa de Havana, and that's where they sell their Cubans and whatnot. Here we have knockoffs of Cubans. So if you know, like Romeo and Juliet, Monte Cristo, Cohiba, there's a few other, Cuban brands. They've knocked them off and they sell them here in the States, but they're not Cuban cigars. They're tobaccos from elsewhere, but all seeds are Cuban seeds. They're just grown elsewhere. We called the Cohiba a red dot Cohiba back then. I think they still call them red dots or whatever back in the 90s. That's what we call them. And but I went and I got some Monte Cristos out of this Casa de Habana, and yeah, they're like $120 for 3 sticks, and they have to be in tin tins. And I opened one up and I started smoking it, and the damn thing exploded, fell apart. Just it was a wreck. And so I took it back to the shop. I said, "Hey man, look at this thing." And they wouldn't give me my money back, wouldn't give me a cigar, nothing. I was like, "Oh man, this is a horrible experience," because I've never had a stick do that on me. And it just, I mean, this thing just unraveled.
How do you keep something, the humidity in something if it's in a tin?
You can't. That's the problem.
Yeah, that's
you
ridiculous.
can't. So the ones that I had left, I brought them home because I got some Cohibas and I got some Monte Cristos, and I brought them home and I did just that. Now the Monte Cristos, if you open up the tin, there is ribs inside the tin that looks like it allows airflow to go in and out of the tin. So I left them in the tin and just popped them open and let those sit in the humi. And I'm gonna age those for a year, so let them sit there and give them one more chance to impress me.
One more chance. Yeah, I mean,
go ahead, buddy.
I was just gonna say, yeah, my experience with Cubans has been the same. I do like Cuban. However, the horse has been out of the barn a long time, right? So people don't understand is, Cuba was like De Beers with diamonds, right? They were cigars, period. I mean, that was where else were you going to go? That was where most of them were cultivated. That's where the branding was. That's where everything was. But once that blockade came in, right, and the fact that you couldn't really, at least in the U.S., and it was get them legally, right, it really kind of killed that industry and opened up a big opportunity. And all these folks who migrated and left Cuba, they brought the seed with them, and they went and established themselves in other countries, Honduras, Nicaragua. I mean, all over the place.
Yeah, a lot of them, just went right over the border in some of the places there, and started new farms, and it's the same people, the same seed. They've got different soil. Now, there's something to be said about Cuba and its sun and its soil and the years of experience that they have there and all that kind of stuff, and the fact that they're regulated. 100%. But from what I understand, their quality has really gone to shit as far as their construction on their cigars. Their quality control is garbage. And everything that I've seen here with the Nicaraguans, the Dominicans, the Mexican stuff, everything that's being done, their quality control is impeccable, man. Like AJ Fernandez, right? Like that guy is, from what I understand, he is like, he controls everything, from seed to stick. It is like he's making sure everything is done perfectly. All the cigars are matching in their color. You get a box of Cubans, they're saying that the colors aren't matching, the quality, and some of them are falling apart. The humidity, all of those things. Like you get a My Father box, or any of these, and you're getting Humi Pack inside the box.
Yeah, 100%.
Because they got these. For those of you who don't know, cigars they need humidity. They need to be somewhat moist, not too moist and not too dry. And then when you go to smoke them, you can dry them out a little bit or more or whatever. But you want to keep them humid because they dry out and they're just not ready to smoke, and the flavors don't.
Which seems out of sorts, because when you first wrap one, you got to let it dry before you can smoke it. But there's like a sweet spot. Hey, Marcus, for your cigar, how's this holding up?
It's going pretty good.
He smokes so fast too.
Yeah, I do, buddy. One of the guys in there said I was coming in hot. I was anticipating this cigar for freaking hours. It's holding up pretty good. Burning not bad, right? Not a bad burn. A little off on the backside. I don't know if I'm going to touch that up or anything. I'm just going to let it ride.
Yeah,
How about yours?
Mine's similar. It's doing pretty good.
Yeah,
Doing pretty good.
it's not a the Cuban that I like that we got in Panama were those Romeo #2s. Those
Yes.
are awesome.
They were good.
I have a handful of some in the humidor. That's one thing you can tell how long you've been in cigars. How many humidors have you gone through? I'm on my. I went from a humidor this size to a humidor this size, and now I have a humidor the size of a wine fridge, right? And you plug it in. So that when you get to that size, you're pretty serious about cigars. Now, if you have a humidor that you walk in and it's 2,000 cigars like your buddy, that's a whole nother level, right?
That's what I want.
Yeah, I've got plans. Next bull market in crypto, I'm looking at. I'm going to build me something like that. Or if not, I'll get a lounge. I'll just get a lounge and turn my man cave into the lounge. That's really probably what I'll end up doing. But it's collecting them is another thing. They're collecting cigars. I've got stuff in there now that I don't want to smoke that I'm just going to put away, and at a special occasion or whatever, maybe I'll grab one. But they've become a collectible thing to me. Like when I first started, like I'm going to go all the way back to the 70s when I snuck my first cigar. It was one of my buddy's uncle, back in the hood. He was a Hoover Groover. Some of you may or may not know what that is, but that is anyway, those folks were in my neighborhood, and we stole his Dutch Masters. He had those gas station Dutch Masters.
Oh, yeah.
And we stole one of those, and we went out behind the alley, and we lit that thing up, and we didn't know what we were doing. We were inhaling it, and we got maybe 3-4 puffs into that thing, and we were puking and rolling around the street green and drinking water out of the hose, trying to fix ourselves before we had to go back home. And so that was my first experience, was with a Dutch Masters, and those were gas station cigars,
Those will surprise you sometimes. So I've been smoking cigars for years, and I had a guy in a semi truck drop a steel building off at my old house, right? And he was smoking a cigar, so I went and I got a couple cigars out of my humidor, gave him a tip and a couple cigars for coming out, and then he gave me a cigar, and he goes, "Don't let this fool you. This is a cigar, and it comes from Walgreens, and you're not going to think it's much, but once you light it, it's going to surprise the heck out of you." And I said, "Okay, I'll take your word for it." And I didn't believe him, so I just went and threw it in the box and let it chill. And then I was running low on cigars one day, and I lit that thing up, and I said, "Man, I gotta go find a Walgreens because this is a freaking good cigar." It was really, really good. I forget what the name of it was.
Yeah, I think I know the one you're talking about. In a pinch, they sell them there.
And it was long. It was a good 6-7 inch cigar.
Like a Churchill, maybe.
Yeah, like a Churchill.
Yeah. Hey, maybe you guys can answer this question. I don't know the true answer to it, but most cigars, and this goes to what RG3 was saying, and maybe people listening don't know this. Most cigars are hand rolled. Most.
Yep.
There are some that are box pressed, where they've figured out some sort of manufacturing process where you can make these square molds and whatnot. But that's pretty much the case, right? Everything is hand rolled. Is that what you understand?
Yeah, they're all hand rolled.
And box press doesn't necessarily mean it's manufactured by machine. That could just be that it was
it's not
box pressed.
Yeah, they hand roll them and then they box press them, and they give them that square. I like box press cigars.
Yeah, Padrones get box pressed, right? Most of those Padron series anniversary.
My Fathers. They're box press, and they're great cigars. I rolled my first cigar today, fellas. I ordered some tobacco. I got some Dominican filler, some Dominican binder, and a Cameroon wrapper. And I've been messing with the tobacco all week, kind of getting it humidified and everything. And I got this thing called an easy roller, and so I'm rolling my own cigars now, because I don't know, when we had the golf event, the Pulse Chain Tour golf event, I had a hand roller come out and roll cigars for everybody at the event, at the golf event. And it was cool. We had a guy there. He was rolling them up by hand. And of course, he didn't give any of those out. I got to keep those. But the ones that they had rolled previous for us that were already aged, we handed those out. And he had a sweet one, a Maduro, and a Connecticut wrapper. I think you got some, didn't you, Crispy?
No, I wasn't there for those. I didn't grab them. But I heard about them.
Send me your address. I'll ship you a few. I still got some. I got some in the Humi. I'll send you a few. They got our logo on it, and they've got the Pulse Masters tour on it and the date. And so put a couple in there and save them. And so we're gonna have hopefully every year at the Vegas event, we're gonna have hand rolled cigars and give them out to everybody.
Yeah, I think it's cool. You're figuring out your own blend and whatnot. I think I mentioned I have a friend who, somebody I met through cigars, right? So we're not friends, we're cigar friends, right? But anyways, he started out as marketing cigars for different companies, A lot of cigar places, by the way, up in Connecticut and New England, right? Because that's where a lot of this started in the U.S. And it was, but anyways, he's been able to put together really good blends. Made me think about creating a hex fire cigar, just for novelty, just like what you're talking about, like some sort of cigar that we do.
I am working on the Hexagon, and I'm going to have a special blend and a special press for it, and that's why I started rolling. I want to put my own out called the Hexagon.
You're gonna make one of those. You got to make more than one type and make one of them, peppery as fuck, right? Like nasty peppery.
We'll make one the red candle, and one will be the green candle.
Yeah. I used to smoke when things started getting bad. People started talking trash. I would break out on the stream. I break out an Alec Bradley Gatekeeper. And I would smoke that on stream. I'm smoking a Gatekeeper for you guys today. It was pretty cool.
Alec Bradley, boy, they
had to take the label off, you guys. I'm already down.
Man, I can't believe you're already there. And I'm puffing on this thing too, man. This thing is good, man. The retro hail on it is so good. There's hardly any pepper. I'm not big on peppery cigars. I like these creamy, smooth ones, and this one is definitely creamy and smooth. This is a good beginner cigar. Now I can tell there's a little bit of nicotine in this one. It'll sneak up on you, that's for sure.
That night when we smoked all those cigars in Vegas, holy moly.
We had 3. We sat down and went through 3 sticks.
And not small sticks either, just your
I know there were
some of them were fatties. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. We all tapped out, man. We're like, we're done, man. We're done. But the conversation was so good.
Yeah. Probably worth telling people that that's not where you start.
No, that's not where you
start with a nice, maybe a short one, something really kind of mild. If you're interested and you want to really experience it and try to do it, you leave them, the chain smoking and the heavy smoking for later if you decide you want to do that.
So my best advice for that would be the Arturo Fuente short story. If we're going back to what we're smoking today, for a beginner cigar, the short story is a tasty stick, and it's small.
Oh man.
Not a huge investment in time, so it's not like you need to have an hour and a half to let that thing burn.
Yeah.
And it's a good little smoke. And my
But
favorite small smoke is I always forget how they pronounce it, but it's the Illusion Rothschilds. Those are also really good. So my favorite two small cigars, especially for beginning. Or I had a cousin get married, and he said, "What cigar should I hand out?" And I said, "You should hand out Illusion Rothschilds, because those are the best cigars. They're little tiny cigars, and people who don't normally smoke cigars will
They
really
can
like
get through it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the thing is, the smaller cigars don't necessarily mean they're cheaper, right? And so what ends up happening too is people, if you're talking to somebody who's uninformed, they'll be like, "I don't understand. Why don't you just cut it in half?" Well, that's kind of like that's like cutting the Mona Lisa in half, right? I mean, it's a piece of art, right? Is you cut the thing in
Yeah.
half, you just change the whole thing. Doesn't mean they're not smokable. Maybe they are, right? And then the other thing, so well, why don't you just smoke half and save it, man? That's another thing. That's a big, listen, I do
oh
that. But however, that is not recommended, right?
no.
Because you get
No.
this, it's not meant to be sitting around just kind of like gelling with all this flavor, all these weird flavors and stuff. And sure, I've come back and smoked them, but they're a bit bitter.
I really screwed up one time.
Whenever you want to freaking do that, right? It's best if you exhale through the cigar
Yeah, I've heard that.
and blow the smoke out, because that's what makes it really bitter inside. It's not going to be like it was right when you lit it up, but it would be better than if you let that all sit in there.
Yeah. Yeah, you gotta when you relight it, you get all the ash off of it. You relight it, you blow through and kind of burn that carbon off of it, and let it flame up as you're blowing through. You'll see it, and then you start puffing in it, and it's better. It's never the same though. It never is the same if you relight one. And one thing I did, I screwed up. So I've got a really nice little case. You guys have seen it with the ostrich case that I carry around when I travel. And I got stuck in that situation where I had to put a good stick out, right? And I let it die, and I put it away, and I threw it in my little case. And I opened it up later, and the whole case and every stick in it just tasted and smelled like garbage. And yeah, you got to have a bag or something to put them in, because they just do not that charred smell after it goes out is horrible.
Permeate everything, right? It's like
it's
like storing your bananas next to onions. Don't do that.
Yeah, so I had to take all of the cedar boxes out of it, soak them in distilled water, rinse them all out, and put them out in the sun for a few days, and that finally got the smell out. But yeah, it was horrible. It was horrible.
Yeah, that's not good.
Don't do that.
This is my plain white cup. It had like a little espresso Cuban coffee that I made. You might think it's plain, but in the center there, it's got a little flipper offer. Can you see that?
Yeah, I see that.
Yeah, so my wife gives that to me. So every time I drink a coffee, she's giving me the bird afterwards. I don't know what that's all about.
Oh, you got yours done too. Yep. I just popped mine a moment ago.
The artwork on the banding is just amazing on cigars. I love the artwork that they put on these things. I have a little case on my wall that you drop them in, and it's all lit up. And so I put all the bands in there, and it's kind of a cool little man cave wall hang. But the artwork on these just fascinates me. I love cigar bands. They're just really, really cool. Like the My Father bands and the Arturo Fuente bands. They're just badass.
If I get a band that I really, really like, I have this double-sided tape, and I tape it to my gun safe. Put it on there. So my whole gun safe, it has a whole bunch of bands on it. It's kind of cool.
Yeah, this is turning into the to the man show. Yeah, we can talk about guns too, gun cases and oh yeah. Anyway, another
Another show. Another show.
another show. That's a different show. You can't have guns on a live stream though, guys. I got the show shut off one time. we Discord Syndicate. We were all chatting one night, and one of the guys brought his gun out and said, "Yeah, it's sitting right here." And then I reached back and I pulled out my double barrel shotgun and I said, "Hey, look what I got right here," and we all had our guns right there, and they shut the show off. Right? I mean, we were midstream and the thing turned off, and
wow.
They sent me a message saying, "Hey, you can't do that," and they didn't give me a strike or anything, but yeah, it was no bueno. You can show guns on recorded streams, but you can't have one on a live stream.
That's crazy. How that's, I guess, so they can monitor what you do with it, right?
Well, they've had some problems with people offing themselves on unliving themselves or whatever on stream, so it's understandable. I get it.
That's
awesome. Yeah.
Hex Monkey, if you're still watching.
Monkey. We should talk about Monkey a little bit. So we're seasoned cigar smokers, and when we do go into a town and we have a meetup, a Hex meetup, a crypto meetup, we seek each other out and say, "Hey, where are we smoking a cigar at?" And Hex Monkey went to a cigar lounge with us one time and gave him his first cigar. And now he's hooked, and now he's one of us, and he seeks us out and comes and hangs out with us and has a stick, and he's funny, man. He smoked a cigar like somebody smoking a brand new cigarette. He was like, oh, and he would destroy the end of them and burn them all to shreds. And remember when we were on the boat that one time and
he got little pieces of wrapper. So I was supposed to go have a cigar with Monkey yesterday. My wife rides horses and she's at a barn, right? And her internet went down there, so she went to the Verizon store. And as soon as she goes to the Verizon store, my phone starts blowing up with text message after text message. And then after a while, I just didn't look at the phone anymore. And one of those texts was Hex Monkey. So we're going to catch up next week, I think, if he's still around.
Right on.
Sorry, Hex Monkey.
Poor Monkey.
Yeah, and it's fun going out with him because he'll say, "Hey, which one should I smoke?" And I'm like, "Hey, yeah, try this one right here, man." And he'll get into it. And hey, I've never seen him turn green. He keeps right up with us and keeps on going. He's digging it. Yeah. So we got us another one.
Yep.
Yeah. And who's one of the other ones? We got what's his name down south. He's down there too. Walrus. And who else?
Oh, yeah.
We got Walrus.
Walrus would come on this show in the blink of an eye. He loves.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and by the way, this thing is still, smoking great. Got a great burn on it. The retrohale on this thing is insanely good. Now, if you don't know what a retrohale is, that's when you take the smoke in your mouth and instead of just blowing it out of your mouth, you run it through your nose. And you get a whole different flavor profile, more intense flavor profile. Some cigars that are very peppery, very spicy will rip into your nose pretty harsh. So when you're retrohaling, you got to it takes a while to get a retrohale going. But retrohaling is like one of the ways to really taste a cigar. And this one here, the retro on this one is insanely good. Hey, Grandpa Pulse there says he lives close to the region near Esteli in Nicaragua. Now, Esteli is like one of the premier grow spots where they They grow some of the best tobacco
There's
in
a
all the
cigar
cigar
brand
world.
called Esteli, isn't there?
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, I think so. No,
Yeah.
well, I know that. Yeah, I think they do have an Esteli brand. I'm not sure, but I know that it's a type of tobacco. I'm gonna kick my light on. It's getting a little dark over here. Hold on one second.
So what Grandpa Pulse is saying basically is that we need to DM him our address so he can send us some sticks. That would be
There
awesome.
we go. Now we're talking.
Yeah, that perked your camera up too, Captain.
Right on. Hold on one second. I'm gonna ambiance up a little bit here.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I guess
How short is yours, Crispy?
Well, what do we talk about? The cigar, about 2.5 inches.
Yeah, I got like an inch and a half left.
So there's 50 different manufacturers that manufacture out of that area that's selling. 50.
Really?
50, yeah. Which isn't surprising, right?
Yeah, it's really good stuff there.
Grandpa Paul says it's cheaper to buy them in the States.
Yeah. Well,
they
probably.
It does happen sometimes.
Now
Man,
the tariffs are going to affect a little bit.
They may affect it. They affected cigars for a while, anyways. But not tariffs exactly, but the financial situation for a while back in maybe a couple of years ago. One of the things I've been able to do, and I don't know if you guys do this or not, but there are some shops. So there are people that run their business like a business, and they keep everything up to date. And then there's other people that don't. They basically bring boxes in and price them, right? So they're not pricing the market. So I did find a place up here, out of the way. What a selection! Huge selection of cigars, good cigars. They're all running probably 30% cheaper, and they're not fakes. They're not fakes. Like I keep
On a
an eye
brick
on.
and mortar?
Yeah, brick and mortar. And I was like, man, if this place was an hour and a half away from my house, I'd be here all the time picking them up. Because when I find a trove like that, I'll just run them out. I'll just buy whatever they got. That's a good smoke. Because again, I'm kind of cheap, right? I don't want to spend, $12, $15 a stick.
That's why you and I pass links back and forth, right?
Yeah.
What's your go-to RG3? Do you do mail order at all?
What's that? I'm sorry.
Do you do any mail order at all?
Yeah, I don't want to. I want to save it for a show. I just did an unboxing of I just joined a club, and I'm really digging these guys. I've been watching them for a little while. They do some YouTube stuff, and they're disruptive in the cigar industry. They've got a good message. They're kind of pulling the covers off of the industry a little bit because, let's face it, a cigar is a very simple product. It's a bunch of different tobacco leaves rolled up together. There's only so many different types of blends that you could do. Obviously there's a lot of different, strains of tobacco. There's a lot of different types of wrappers. You've got your Cameroon wrappers from Africa. You've got your Connecticut wrappers from Connecticut. Then you've got all of the Dominican and the Nicaraguan, tobaccos that are just phenomenal. And now they're mixing all these things together, but they're a very simple product. And, and so a lot of this marketing that they're doing and pumping the sticks up. This is a great stick. Don't get me wrong. But when you start, pushing the prices up to $100 a stick, really, what are you getting? Are you getting anything better? Because these guys sent me some cigars. I think I paid $28 and they sent me, 4 cigars. And it's a cigar of the month club. They age. Their whole thing is they age them. Like literally, the cellophane on the cigars that they gave me was just yellow, and that's one way you can tell So for those of you who don't know, a cigar comes in cellophane. And
Most.
the reason for the cellophane is, first of all, it protects the cigar so that it doesn't get all beat the hell up in your humidor and in travel and all that kind of stuff. But cellophane is a natural product and it breathes. So the cigar can release and accept humidity in and out of it. And what happens after a cigar ages for a while is the cellophane turns yellow. And from the cigar itself, breathing in and out of that cellophane. And just like wine or anything else, aging a cigar gives it gives it better flavor. It mellows out the tones. Like when you're saying when you first roll a cigar. Now you can smoke a cigar right after you roll it, but you're going to get a pretty harsh tasting cigar. They need time to mellow and the flavors need to blend. And the more complex the blend of the cigar, the more time I think it needs to age. For instance, you were talking about what was that company? Alec Bradley. I got a handful of sticks from them that were Brazilian wrappers, and holy moly, that thing! And I don't want to speak bad about the company because they make great sticks, but this thing was horrendous. I mean, I literally had to put the thing out. And I rarely ever do that. But if you don't like a cigar, you just put it out. You don't just smoke through the whole thing. But that Brazilian wrapper just did not do it for me. That it was a 1800 or a 1600 or something like that. So I just left the rest of them in my humidor. I'm going to put them in the back and just let them rest for a few years and see how they turn out.
Let's talk about
yeah.
pluming. Let's talk about pluming for a moment, right? Because I think that I, like a lot of other people, misunderstood. And one of the, what pluming was in the beginning, and what is pluming. So if somebody's walking into a store and you go look at cigars, you go, oh man, those cigars are moldy. They're usually not mold. I guess it's possible, but not usually. What you're seeing is mold. What you're seeing is the natural process of the oils coming out of the wrapper, and it's a sign of good aging. And so I learned after a while to go seek out pluming. So if I walk into a humidor, and not all cigars will have the cellophane around them, right? And I see good pluming, man, it draws my attention right to that cigar.
Buy that stick in a heartbeat.
Like
now,
if it's a dark cigar, man, I'm going for it right then.
I'm gonna grab something because I want to show you a really good example of that. I'll be right back.
Yeah, we're in the same, Marcus. We're on the same page there, man. I can't go past that box, man. If I see that, I'll do it. Yeah. And some of the cigars I get still, then most of them are never plumed now, but some of them won't come in cellophane. I kind of prefer that because what I'm doing is I'm turning around and taking them out of the cellophane. So
yeah, if I put them in my humidor, usually I'm pulling them out of the cellophane.
Yeah, that's how I do it too. Now, I suppose somebody can make an argument that I'm cross-contaminating cigars, but my cigars don't last that long. So, because I'm buying them to smoke them, not to save them right now.
Have you ever had any issue with the beetle thing, the weevil?
Yeah, not personally in my humidor, but I've gotten some. I bought some cigars one time, and I was like, "What the hell is this?" It looked like a goddamn hive, But
now
that's but they
now that's why I leave the cellophane. I leave the cellophane on mine because of that. Now I know it doesn't stop it 100% if you do get beetles or whatever. But I don't know if you could see, but I got this Wisdom by King Solomon. It's a really kind of crazy stick. It's like let me take it out so you can see it. But it's loaded with that plume or that mold, like you said, and I honestly think it is mold. But I got it because, I've heard a lot of guys talk about the plume and all that stuff. And this guy had a whole stack of these. And he's an old shop that has been sitting there for a long time that doesn't get a lot of you know, a lot of traffic. And I was in his humidor, and I was rooting around in it. And in the back of the humidor, some cigars had fallen in behind the back. And I picked it up and I grabbed one, and it was a My Father the Judge. And it was, I mean, it was bright yellow, the cellophane. And so I grabbed this stick and I grabbed that one. And then I walked out of the store, and then I said, you know what? I'm looking at that stick, and it was discounted. It was like, you know, I don't think the people there knew what it really was. So I went and grabbed the rest of them and I stuck them in my humidor. So, and I smoked one of them, and it was really nice. It was really nice.
Yeah.
Nice. I have there's a cigar shop up in Daly City, I think it is, and he has a bunch of cigars in the front that nobody knows what they were. Right, this cigar is very much like cars. Right, everybody knows what a Cohiba, Partagas, a Romeo is, and if they're new buyers, they stick to those brands quite a bit. Right. But there was an illusion that was in silver foil and an illusion that was in gold foil, and nobody was buying them. I'm going, I'm going to buy. So I went and I took all of them out of that bucket, and I bought them all. And I still have a gold foil illusion in my humidor. Those were unreal. And the plume on inside of it was foil on the outside, paper on the inside. And when I unwrapped it, the thing had little dots, plume dots all over. It was fabulous cigar.
Yeah. Now I've seen it different. Like this one looks like almost pasty, the plume on it. But I've seen some of them like it's just little like dots on them, you know. And, you know, and I've heard mixed things. I've heard people say, it's just mold, man. It's not plume. There's no such thing. And then I've heard other people say, no, man, that really is the reaction of the crystallization of the, you know, of the oils and whatnot. And that's what, you know, gives you the flavor. If you look at a cigar, you'll see little nubs on the cigar. They call them teeth. And if a cigar is toothy or has teeth on it, little bumps, those little bumps are oil pockets, or you know, and they're supposed to be, you know, give the cigar its flavor, and you get the oils out of it and whatnot. So those are kind of things. So plume, the toothiness of the cigar, all that stuff is, you know, supposed to. You know, I'm not a big aficionado as far as getting into the tasting notes and all that, but I know what a taste of a good cigar is, and I know what the taste of a bad cigar is, and that's my preference, you know. And some people might like a stick and go, man, this is my favorite stick, and they give it to me, and I'm like, you know, it's not my thing, but, you know. And then other people don't like what I like, you know. So it's and that's the other thing, you know. There is no it's all preference, you know. It's what you like, and that's just it. If you like if there's a $5 stick that's your thing, man, you know, get it. And you know, you don't need to, you'll get $60, $70, $80 sticks to have a good stick. There's like this company I said that's sending me stuff. I had one this morning. What was it? It was and I asked Triple Dad about it, if he had tried one, and he said he hadn't heard of it, and I hadn't heard of it either. But it was a Capos. Have you ever heard of a Capos, Crispy?
Not offhand. Like there's thousands of brands, man, and thousands of cigars. Well, maybe not thousands of brands, but there's definitely thousands of cigars. I may have seen it, but I don't remember that one offhand. Well,
it was cellophane was very yellow. They aged it well, because this company that I got it from, that's their thing. They age them, and it's it was a really, really good stick. I enjoyed it.
How do you spell that?
Capos. Capos. And it burned perfect. It was really mellow, but it was a real complex, you know, a lot of different flavors in it. I couldn't tell you what they all were. My palate is not that not that good. People can say, "Oh, it tastes like leather and cocoa and earth," and you know, every once in a while I'll get something. Yeah, you know, that tasted a little cedary to me or something. But other than that, like this thing here, this thing is good. This thing is good, and only thing I can say is creamy and smooth. And but I'm not real good at those tasting notes. I don't know about you guys, but
Me either. I don't go for tasty notes. And when I used to drink, right, I wasn't in that for tasty notes. Right? I was in that for
get to the end of the bottle, right?
Yeah, I was in there to look at the bottom of the glass. Is what I was in for, right?
Yeah, man. I hear you on that. But yeah, it's all preference. If you like something, you get it, and you
right
stick
away.
with it. Yeah.
It
Now
looks
I was.
like they're from Costa Rica.
Costa
Oh, is
Rica.
that where they're at? Oh,
I'm
nice.
wondering. I'm thinking.
So, what cigar brand you guys want to take a look at next show? We're doing this every Thursday, right? This time.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right. What are we looking at for next week? You think?
Let's let somebody in the chat room tell us what we'll do.
Yeah, if there's any brands that you guys would like to recommend for us to dive into, try to make it so they have more than 3 options, so all 3 of us can get a stick and smoke it. So my father, anything you guys, if you guys want to chime in, go for it.
Nice. Yeah, I was really now, and I don't know if it's, and I've heard some different things. Like, I really liked the Judge. When I tried the first one, I was like, wow, this is great. And I got a box and I put them in the humidor and let them sit in there for about a month, and grabbed one out and took some to Panama with me.
I smoked one of them.
And you smoked one of them. And and so did Monkey, I smoked one at home after that, and I was like, I don't know about this one. And then I had what's it called? There's another my father out there called the Antiquidad, and I really like that one. And so I'm like, I got all these Judges now, and I'm really not digging the Judges that much. And I've heard that, when a cigar gets famous, Cigar Aficionado comes out every year with a list, and they do the top 25 cigars or whatever, and then whatever cigar hits the tops of those lists, and it's subjective because these companies pay, or it's a pay to play thing. Let's just face it. They pay aficionado to be listed, and they get listed, and or they're just these are old families that have been around for a long time. Cigar Aficionado's been around since the 90s, so they lean into these companies and these cigars, and they push them up there. And then when somebody buys the shit out of them, they kind of lose that blend where they've got to scramble and put tobacco in there that may not have been the same age as the other one or whatnot, and so the cigars change their flavor. So I've heard that, but
I've seen that too. A more charitable view of that is that initially when these cigar brands come out, they're limited. Like there's some that only come out, there's some types that, they're only made once a year, that type of thing.
The special editions, limited editions.
And I'm not saying it's right. What I'm saying is that, those taste really good. And then when people love them and they got to go mass production, it's a problem, right? Because then they got to figure out how to source all these materials, right?
A prime example of that is that 601 Blue that I gave you guys.
Oh,
yes.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
So that 601 Blue, when those first came out, I go, this is a budget-friendly Padron, is what it tasted like when it first came out. Then it dropped off for a bit because they gained in popularity, like went through the roof. and then just recently they started coming back, and that's a good little stick for the price it is.
Now, not to talk trash about Padron, but they've never, I've never like been wowed by one yet. And maybe somebody can give me a stick to get, but Padron has
Really?
never been like my favorite. Yeah, I don't know. I haven't like had my socks knocked off by one yet.
The 1926 and 74s
Yeah.
are pretty good.
I had
those
the
thin
26,
ones,
a
yeah.
couple of them. Yeah, and I wasn't super duper like there's just so many others that I like better that I was like, it was all right, but it's the same price as a lot of these other ones that I do like. So
I know
I
you
just
probably have a more bougie ashtray than I have, but this is my grandpa's 306 ammo can, and that's my garage ashtray, buddy. My streaming room ashtray.
This is mine here. For the show too. Look at that.
Did you pick that up when we were down south?
That was that's the one I got in Vegas. I got this
Yeah.
one in Vegas when I was out there. I needed I was doing I had a little cheapy just an ashtray, and I'd have to put a stand on it. But this thing, puts your cigar up high, and it's deep and wide, and got the gold leaf on it and everything. I like it.
That's a nice
They're
one.
yeah, this size is like A Fuente puts these out, and they're a they're a $50-$60 ashtray, but when you smoke cigar every day or something, it's nice to have a good ashtray.
True.
So here's a crazy one you may not have heard of. I don't know if you had tried these last year, but there were some cigars that came out. They were Mickey Mouse cigars. Did you see those around anywhere?
No.
They were
Yeah.
freaking good, man. They were like limited. They're called 1920.
They got sued, didn't they?
Yeah. They had to stop making them or something. But boy, while they were out,
Yeah.
they were good. This is from Pravada, and I think that's the right pronunciation. And it was good.
Liga
Yeah.
Privada, you mean?
Yeah.
How
PRIVADA.
can they sue them for the Mickey Mouse? Because I thought that went to public domain.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know
Well,
the
I
answer
think
to that.
it's
I just
I
know
think
that
it's-
they stopped making them.
it was advertising. You can't remember the camel bro because he was a cartoon. You can't advertise tobacco.
Yeah,
It crosses over with kids and stuff, and they don't like that stuff. So, they got him, I think, for
Plus, camels
Um,
everywhere were offended. Yeah.
yeah, camels everywhere were offended.
Yeah.
So I think that's kind of what got him.
I've smoked a couple of Chillin' Moose cigars. I'm surprised the Bullwinkle guys don't get on them.
Yeah. Well, I've often thought, and I know other people have done it before, but thought about NFTs with cigars and that type of stuff. I'm just not sure. Yeah, how you would actually get around the imagery, right? Because the whole, like if I was doing an NFT and I wanted to represent something, like I could create a whole bunch of parody stuff, but I can't take this label and put it on there without permission. I can't make the NFT of that. Now I'm certain somebody could just do it, right? But who are they going to find? How are they going to find the people? But as like a real endeavor, it'd be kind of problematic, right?
Yeah, I've looked at ways to maybe add crypto to the cigar. There's a couple of them out there where you go online, you can play games, and there's NFTs, and that's just gimmicky stuff. I have never really seen the crossover in crypto, other than what we're doing here is trying to bridge the worlds over, the conversation over, the type of people over that are into cigars, into crypto, and I think that's really where it's at. It's about education, it's about showing people that people just like you do crypto. we smoke cigars. We appreciate cigars. We have a community wrapped around it. We have relationships and whatnot wrapped around it. And let's face it, just like the cigar world, where it's very hard to advertise, it's word of mouth, it's education, it's a community-based marketing system.
It's trial and error, also, right? Find
Yeah, and that's where we're at. We're in very disruptive industries. We're in industries that a lot of people don't like, that are gate kept. We're rebels, obviously. Because it's the tobacco world is hated, feared, and loathed by a lot, and for good reason. The cigar or the cigarette world and the vape world has really damaged young people's health and people's health. There's cigarettes have killed more people than just about anything other than Big Macs, and it's
Careful,
it's
careful.
and so it's not popular, but the communities that are involved, the people that are involved, we like these things. And as far as vices go, that are out there, I think this is, one of the safest vices. It's very interesting. There's a lot of history behind it. And the other thing is, I'm half native, and one of our, sacraments, one of the things that we hold in reverence is tobacco. We pray with tobacco. We've used it in ceremony for thousands of years. And so to me, it's something special, something to be appreciated, something to be respected, something to be revered. And so I see it that way. And I also see crypto as being something that humankind can use to help with finance, to help fix finance, because, we haven't talked too much crypto yet, but, our disruptive industry is, really at a precipice right now. We're at a turning point in the world where it's necessary, it's needed. It's I think it's the people's best chance to rebel against the system that has screwed us all so long. And I know that most people out there, and most people that are cigar enthusiasts and not crypto enthusiasts, probably, have heard about crypto, know about crypto, are excited about it, but they're afraid of it because 99% of it is scams, and I'm hoping that we can kind of demystify all that and show people how to use crypto in a good way, in a responsible way. Try and help people avoid the pitfalls of crypto, because heck, I've been in it since 2014. I don't know how long you guys have been in crypto. I know you guys have been in for a while too. But we've seen it all. We've seen all the scams. We've lost a lot of money. We've seen people rob people and rob us, and but we've learned a lot, and I think that we've gotten to a point where it's people like us that need to go out there and really start speaking truth to power and truth to the people getting involved, because it's not that scary if you do it right. And hopefully we can start teaching people how to people that are just out there smoking cigars and don't know much about crypto, take the fear out of it and tell them, hey, you can do it too. And there's some simple, easy steps and protections that you can take to make sure that your experience is a good one and not a bad one. And excuse me, it's getting a little cold out here. But yeah, and I think that's some of the things that we should start talking about too, is teaching people how to onboard and get into crypto without hurting themselves.
And if you are in another blockchain, we're kind of focused on a single blockchain, but if you're on another blockchain and you'd like to come burn a stick with us and talk to us, shoot us all a DM or put a message out there. We'd love to talk to you.
Yeah, and we're not we're blockchain agnostic. Is that what we'd call it, I guess?
Yeah. I started out in all the D-Gen ones, right? I'm not a day one hexakin. I'm a day 601 hexakin. But I was having my fun in B&B Summer and on Phantom Network and all those, right? I was all over the board. But I love I love crypto. It's what I do, right?
Yeah, and I think maybe that's one of the things that we should explain to folks is that, you know, when crypto came out, of course, it was just Bitcoin. It was a coin, and it was its own blockchain. The blockchain is really the system that the crypto runs on. And then Ethereum came out, and Ethereum created its own blockchain. And then there were some others that were, you know, working at the same time, and you know, and building and trying to develop and whatnot. But they're all, you know, necessary, needed. Some are better than others, and it's really about what has happened is because there's so much crypto and there's so many blockchains out there that some of them have become very centralized, meaning that there's big entities controlling them. There's big business, big banks behind them. There's a lot of marketing behind them. And then there's a whole nother section called DeFi, decentralized finance, where that's the real gold in crypto is you self-custodying, you being the controller of your crypto, you being the controller of that blockchain. No other human is. It's all about code and you. And once you learn how to navigate and understand that that crypto is there for you and DeFi is what you want to do, then it's going to make it a lot easier for you, you know. And you know, and the onboarding process is really the hardest thing to get through. And you know, and that means you got to connect your bank, your value to the crypto world. And that means you have to go out and create a centralized account in order to move those funds back and forth. Because a lot of people, they get into crypto and they've never spent their crypto. They've never moved their crypto back and forth. And you know, I know a lot of people that got into crypto, they don't know how to get out of crypto, you know, and that's that point of failure right now, that centralization, that entry point where you've got to beware. But I think for most people, what you need to do is figure out how to get yourself in. And there's a few different ways to do so. We have a decentralized platform called 0x Coast that you can actually move yourself into crypto that way.
And it seems like some more incoming, according to Twitter today, right? There's some more incoming on offboard platforms.
Yeah,
really
and
cool.
and then
what did you just like, Cripsy?
Oh, LFD. No.
All right. I should have brought 2 cigars out to the garage.
I'm still on my first one, and I only had a 47 ring gauge. This thing's only a 47 ring gauge, and I feel like I've been puffing the crap out of you guys, man. You guys tear me up every time, man.
Blessed in it. But if you're interested in cigars, I put mine out about 15 minutes ago, right? So it's 858. You know, we chatted for a bit here, so 858 is about an hour burn time, right?
Yeah,
So
that was good. That was good smoke.
Yeah, good smoke.
For the average cigar smoker, it's probably about an hour and a half stick for regulars. These guys here, Crispy the Lung and Triplet the inhaler.
If you're looking for a good source for cigars, if you go online, Crispy and I always pillage cigarbid.com. And I also like for good deals, Cigar Page has great cigars for decent prices. And the place where I go to get some low production stuff is a Small Batch Cigar Company. Those guys are awesome.
Yeah, and that's small batches right here in my backyard. So I go over there, and they've got a little outdoor lounge. You walk into their shop. Their shop where you actually purchase the cigars is the humidor. You open the front door, and that's their humidor. The whole shop is the humidor, and then
I
they've
love
got
that.
a strip mall that is loaded with their mail order stuff. And they're really good. They're friendly guys there. I like going and having a stick there every once in a while. And they've got everything. I still gotta try that one you keep talking about.
Yeah, and they also have the Don Barton Tobacco Company. They make some really good sticks. And the one I like is Red Meat Lover.
Red Meat Lovers.
Those are
That's
good.
what's dude's name? He's doggone it. Um, he's been in the cigar world for a long time, and he's the one
Yeah,
that's
I
got
forget
the.
his name too, but I know this. I ordered enough Red Meat Lovers that they sent me a Sasquatch holding a Don Barton cigar. I got
Yeah,
it
because
stacked
he has one. He has one's called the Squatch too, right? Or the Sasquatch or
I
something, right?
think so. Yeah, I think so. It's good stuff.
And I got to plug the guys. I wanted to wait and kind of do a show about them, but Pravada Cigar Club, they're very disruptive. They're a guy by the name of Brian runs a place, and I've been talking to a guy named Clark over there. They're the ones that have this cigar club where, like for $28 you get aged sticks, and I've only tried the one so far. I just did an unboxing the other day. I just got the sticks in. But I got two different sets. I got three of their brand. One of them is a unicorn. The other one's a unicorn horn. And then they sent me another stick with that. And then they sent me 4 aged cigars, which was that one I smoked earlier today, that Capos, which was delicious. And they also they have this other thing for $4 a month. You get a blank stick, a blend that they're working on their cigars, and you rank it and rate it for them, and send the card back in, and you fill out the card, and then you go in there and send it to them. And so if, for like $50, I got 8 sticks, and so far the one that I had was great, and they're very disruptive. They're in the industry, talking about the myths and unraveling the myths, and bringing cigars that are quality premium cigars that are aged and at a price that people can afford versus smoking $30-$40 sticks all the time.
Yeah. Sounds like a potential sponsor.
Yeah. Them and Small Batch Cigar Company should give us a holler.
Yeah, we should talk to them too.
Yeah, if there's any
I'm gonna.
that you would like us reviewing, we will review them.
Yeah, I'd love to see if we can get a hold of some stuff like that and do some reviews. It's hey, just get free sticks out of it. That'd be nice.
Yeah, and I don't know how many people do you show watching this show right now?
Well, I don't see how many are in here, but so far 738 people have either slipped through it on X or something, so we've had a lot. 740 have flown through it or whatever. So there's some clicks on it and some people looking at it. But yeah, it looks like it's trending about as good as everything else does, and that's cool. That's cool.
That's funny. Yeah.
If you had a booth at a cigar conference, and you had about an hour on that floor, would you talk to 700 people?
I don't know. I don't think so. I mean, PCA just went through, and I watched some of the stuff that went down at PCA, and they had a pretty good amount of people. But that's like an industry thing too. I'd love to go to that. But there's another thing that Pravada's putting on in I believe it's in Ohio. I was telling Triplet Dad, and it's called the Hungry Herf or something like that, and they're putting on their own deal out in Ohio. And
And there's some other ones that are open to the public. Like I think the Big Smoke is open, right? Is that not open to the public, right? And so those types of things. I mean, you'd get 1,000 people a day for sure. I would think.
Yeah.
If we could figure out a way to involve crypto in it, and I don't think NFTs or anything like that is going to be the gig, but
what? Whoa! Don't give away any alpha, man. Don't give away any alpha. Somebody else will go do it. I got some ideas for you.
All right. We'll putz around with it.
That's what I do, man. I come up with ideas. Shit at implementing them, but I'm come up with ideas.
That's me. I'll go charge the hill. That's for sure. Win, lose or draw. I'll charge the hill.
Well, that's why I was Navy and you were Marine. Right, so.
Exactly. I was eating crayons, getting ready to go.
It's like that old IBM commercial, right? We just come up with ideas. We don't actually implement them, right?
That's right.
Yeah. Us Marine types, we just go out there and get blasted in the face, and then hopefully after Crispy gives us a ride, drops us off, he patches us back up and sends us back out there.
Yeah, well, I didn't mean that in any derogatory frame, or thinking, but in general, right? It's like not even in general. My experience has been, teamwork makes the dream work. That's real. Meaning that people have different types of things they bring to the table, right?
Crypto Ape, if you like this hat, buddy, I was given some by Mr. McGruder, the man. The guy who makes all the cool hats. So if you'd like a hat, let me know.
Yeah, Brian.
Yeah.
Magruder is the deal, man. I've got a whole closet full of hats. My son stole that one. He loves it. He wears it to school every day. So, and that's a great hat, man. He wears that one every day to school. And so I've lost access to that one, but he sent me tons, and we've given away tons of his hats at our events and whatnot. So shout out to Magruder for doing that. And he had like one of the best booths at the golf tournament too.
He did.
If you guys don't know, our community, we put on an event every year in Vegas now, and it has a golf tournament that's involved, and all of the different projects that are built on Pulse Chain that are crypto projects, they sponsor a hole, and they have a party at the hole, or they have food, or they have giveaways, hats, cups. We had Actuator out there giving out these really cool. Did you guys get one of those mugs?
I didn't get the mug. I wanted to get a mug though.
I did not get the mug, but I got Actuator, and I figured that out.
Yeah, Actuator is cool, and I got their copper mug. It's a solid copper mug. It's really nice. They gave me one, and they had a good time at their hole too, and it was something else. So we put that on every year, and we, like I said, I have a hand roller there that rolls cigars, and everybody goes out there and has a good time, and what it is our community has always tried to build trust, build community, because we know that these things aren't marketed traditionally. These things are marketed by word of mouth, people trusting one another, people helping others build. The whole Pulse Chain community that we're involved in has been, building together, working together, and helping each other promote what it is they're building on Pulse Chain. And, when we get together, we build even more trust, more relationships. Like I said, the three of us here, we sit down and smoke cigars and talk crypto and help build the community. And my get people so fired up about crypto that we're actually going to fill the Las Vegas sphere versus just a couple of rooms at a hotel.
That'd be awesome, right? That would be good times for sure.
So this final third is starting to get a little stronger, a little, it's not the second third is always the favorite for me on most cigars, and then towards the end they start getting a little bit stronger, a little more astringent.
Yeah, they do, 100%.
But it's still good.
Yeah.
Let's see. Let's see what the chat is saying. Okay, they're asking for the hat, right? You can three you a bunch of Crypto Ape. Oh, by the way, Crypto Ape is man. This is like a testament to the community. This guy is he's a pro DJ. He goes out and does the laser shows and all this stuff, and he and his wife hauled themselves all the way across the country with all of his gear in a trailer, and basically just put up all the AV and dealt with all the issues and put up with me and just laid it out there for the community. So shout out to you, Crypto Ape. Thanks for
how did he not get a hat, buddy? That's
no.
Fast.
Oh, you know what? I think he didn't go to the golf event, and that's where they were all given out, was at the golf event.
Yeah. Crypto 8, hit me up on X. I'll get you a hat, buddy. Magruder, he's given Magic Carpet Ride hats forever because we would give them out all over the place. I personally gave them out all over the place. So hit me up and I'll get you a hat, but I've got extras. My wife would like to see some of my hat collection go away.
Yeah, my wife would like to see a lot of my stuff go away. No way. I love you, RG. Yeah, thanks, Ape, man. You're good. I was way busy. Yeah, I know you had to. He literally the day of the golf tournament, he had to pack all of his stuff up, and that was quite the undertaking, I'm sure. And so yeah, whatever we can get for you, man. I could send you a couple of cigars too from the event if you didn't get any. Let me know. I'll send you out those.
Nice to see you in here, Rip City.
Rip City.
Yeah,
Maybe.
He's my buddy.
So what else can we chat about before I finish this last third?
Yeah, I was gonna say I need to buy the thing need to chat about is I need to buy longer cigars if we're gonna do this again.
Or bring two.
Yeah, I'm gonna bring two. Two's the idea, right?
Oh shit, man! I brought 40. I'm ready.
I think it's a self-monitoring thing where I don't have my cigars within arm's reach, right? I think that's probably a good idea that I have to take some effort and go in the house. But yeah.
So where are you at right now? Are you in your yard? Are you in your house? Or
this is like a little I have a decent sized garage and I built a studio inside it. I have I do all my streams from here. This is my couch from the first DJ Lethal concert, right? I think your name's on here someplace, RG3. Got Hex Siren, Gold Key. Everybody has signed this couch. This is the couch I took to the DJ event on the first Pulse Conf.
The first Pulse conference we did, yeah.
Yeah, so this room's about maybe triple the size of a love seat that I built in here.
Where are you at, Crispy?
Sweet. I'm sitting in my living room with my baby grand piano in the background. Yeah, I just have it's one of my spare rooms, junk room. I got my filters and my fans and windows open.
Oh, you got the setup like that.
Yeah, yep.
I've got a room where my studio is. I was thinking about it, but no, I'd be murdered if I did that. I have to go outside and do my thing. And I have a pretty decent backyard, so
Yeah, yeah. If it's not minus whatever, it's pretty good. If it's not raining, right,
yeah, I'm in Cali, so
pretty good.
it's not too bad. If it's raining, yeah, it's
Yeah.
going to make it
With
difficult.
a good with a good air handler, they're a little expensive. With a good air handler, though, you can set up something decent. But yeah, you always have that after effect.
Hmm. Now, I heard
If
these
I was,
filtration systems that you can put in the room also really help alleviate the smell and stuff too.
I have a filter in here.
Oh, do
Um,
you?
yeah, and you guys can't hear it. At least none of the people that I've streamed with in the past. It's on right now on Medium, and it sucks the smoke out of here. That's one thing you don't want to be is if you do get into cigars, those smoky rooms where people were inhaling and exhaling smoke on top of smoke and other people smoke, like if you think of like a poker game when you can barely see the guy at the other end of the table, right? That's when it starts to hit you in your chest.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I've
That,
been
that,
that. I've done that. Yeah.
yeah, that gets a little brutal. But if you're just having a cigar and you have a small air filter or you're outside, it doesn't really cause that much havoc. If I was to do this inside, um, like the next house I do, I'll probably have at least a room modified or built for
Just for that.
streams and smoking cigars and stuff. I was just gonna get one of those ultra quiet freaking stove hoods above my couch,
Yeah.
and just have it take everything outside. That's what I was thinking about doing. Some of those aren't too loud. Some of those are very, very whisper quiet, actually.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
have some nice whisper ones. Stick it in your
Yeah,
window and blow all the smoke out, and then just clean up real good afterwards, and not leave the butt sitting in there, the stub.
yeah. That's the
Yeah,
what I
that.
need to do is I need to build a house in a horseshoe where my streaming area is over here and my wife is over here.
Far,
Right?
farthest way as possible. That might have some other benefits, maybe.
Yeah, true.
How about a little cigar etiquette when you're finished with your cigar? We talked about lighting one up, smoking them. Now handling them afterwards. So afterwards, when a cigar goes out, they stink. They stink. And so when I do come out here and it's cold, I have a coat, a jacket that I leave outside when it gets all smoky. So I leave that outside to air out. So I'll drag that in the house. And then, of course, go inside, wash my hands, and hit myself with a little cologne and brush my teeth, and that usually helps. And then one of the things that you don't want to do is stuff a cigar out in the ashtray. They stink, and you definitely don't want to do that in a lounge. If you do go to a lounge and you smoke a cigar, you don't want to, ash it in the ashtray and leave it. Just set it down, let it burn out, and the guys at the lounge they clean them up and whatnot. But you don't want to ever like stuff one out because they stink after that.
Yeah, they will. Those guys at the lounge that we were all three in that first night, that lounge, those guys were uh, as busy as ever, just collecting ashes and cigars. That was a great little place. That was a great,
Yeah,
actually, that was fairly large. How many people? There was hard to get a seat in there
yeah.
that night.
We had about 25, 30 people, and then they had a poker game going on in the back,
Yeah.
and we had a couple of couch areas that we filled up, and that's
And
called in Fuego, and it's off the strip. If you ever go to Vegas, check out in Fuego. They're actually the ones that sponsored the roller that came to the golf tournament, and they're a really good shop. They're off the strip. They're kind of like a local lounge that the residents in Vegas go to. It's not one of those bougie lounges.
Perfect
Inside.
cigar shop, right?
You know what I liked it?
Nice humidor, great selection. Come out. There's beverages, which is sometimes not present in a cigar shop, right? And also there's a bunch of freaking TVs, and they were watching the Knights there, playing hockey. But that was a great little place.
Yeah, most importantly, reasonable price.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That
it was reasonable.
Probably 30%, 40% less than the strip.
Yeah,
Very
yeah.
true. Very true.
Now, the one cigar that they didn't have a good discount on was the Fuentes, because Fuente has their own shop there. We went to that one too, and but I mean, Fuente sticks are all high priced anyway. But they were a little better priced at the shop. But I heard they're shutting that down. They're shutting down the Fuente shop in Vegas. Mm-hmm.
I had a Padron there, I think.
Are they shutting it down because they're redoing that hotel, or I think isn't that what it is?
Too many complaints from all the shops around it. Yeah, they said it's it got to where they were just complaining too much, because that's a real bougie mall there. That's real bougie, and and the Fuente shop, it's a nice little shop and everything, but they don't like the smell and whatnot.
In less than a week's time, I think we went to three places, right? We went there. We went. You and I and Crispy went to the place in the mall.
Mm-hmm. And then we went to that other place to watch the fight.
And then we went to the other place to watch the fight. That was awesome.
Yeah, that one was a little expensive, but it was a nice atmosphere. Being able to watch the fight was cool. It was worth the price of the sticks there for that. And we bought 3 sticks each.
Yeah,
That's another thing. When you go to a lounge, you want to go into their humidor and get their sticks. Because that's kind of like
100%. Yeah, 100% there.
That was a good night. Good night. When we had a crowd of just our crypto group there, probably of almost 20 people, 15, 20 people at the end.
Yeah, that was a good one. That was another good night. So, well, this one's getting about to the end here. Looks like it's done.
All right.
Hot diggity, man.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we've been going for a couple of hours here, and good sticks, good conversation. Didn't get too deep into crypto talk, and we'll come up with some better formatting. We'll get some better action on my AV stuff, and we'll keep playing this by ear and keep doing it. Anything you guys want to close with?
We're going to bring on some other people. Probably going to get Walrus on here. Maybe Don Montoya, maybe KG, some brother KG action, right? Any of those guys, and I've got some other guys in the Telegram room that would come on over here too, right? A couple of people from some other blockchains, and we'll bring them all in here. This is all about cigars and crypto. We're agnostic, just like he said. Mm-hmm. Episode 1 of Burn It All is in the can.
Burn It All is in the can.
Even if you like XRP, you can come on.
Yeah.
That was just a joke, by the way.
We'll make fun of your cigar, though. It's probably
we might make fun of your cigar.
It's gonna probably burn not real well, and
it'll burn uneven.
It'll probably canoe on you.
No, we won't make fun of you that much.
Right on. All right, guys. A Fuente, you make good sticks. I enjoyed it. Opus X's are some of my favorites. Even though they are expensive, there's other sticks that fit right in with them. But that one was really good.
How about score 1 to 10? What would you give your smoke?
I'm gonna score that one right up there at about a 7. I'm gonna give it a good 7, 7.5. You got to really knock my socks off to get 8s and 9s, and I don't know if I've ever really had a 10. Although the Valentino Siestos that I got in Panama were really good sticks.
That was a good smoke.
But yeah, it was good. That's another one we could talk about sometime. They're kind of a small, well, they're not really a small brand, but they're not out here that often. That's another one we can talk about sometime. But yeah, it was a good 7. What about yours, Triplet?
I would say that it's lower than that, but it's like the workhorse of the Arturo Fuente lineup, right? They rated 87 on Cigar Aficionado. I would say it's in the 6s ish, right in the middle of all the sticks. I like that cigar. It's a go-to cigar. It's one of my favorites.
Yeah, I give it a 7.5 because I smoke the same one. But scoring is always a little funky.
Yeah.
Like giving something a score. But I think it's a solid smoke. Like I could if I had a box of those, reasonable price, could live off of those for a while.
100%.
Right on. All right, gentlemen. Well, hey, I appreciate you coming on. Hang out in the green room for a quick second, and we'll call this one. And guys, we'll catch you next week, and we'll announce what we're going to do on that one. And any ideas, any things you guys want to add to it, feel free to DM us or like, comment, subscribe, do all that. Hit the buttons, hit the bell, and we'll bring you another one next week. All right, guys.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Good night.